And we are back. This is episode number 76 of Kalibrated with Scott. I'm Scott, of course. We have some major map changes to go over today. Today's video is only going to be a frontline update. Tomorrow's video that I will record tomorrow, that is, will be a longer overview of the geopolitics and current events that are happening in Ukraine. But for right now, there have been some major map changes and some significant implications for those map changes. So we're going to go ahead and take a look at those right now. Just for a quick overview of the map, this is my map. I've created this over the past couple of weeks with my friend Vigorous Falcon. The pins you see here are all geolocated events that we have found. The map is very conservative and neutral. So we show both Ukrainian strikes, Russian strikes, everything is mapped here. And the areas that you would need to look at are the purple areas. Those are the unconfirmed Russian advances. So they've been confirmed by sources, but not actually visually confirmed by videos. And green areas, which there are none on the map currently, are confirmed Russian advances via geolocation. So just for a quick legend for the map, I'm going to start at the Avdeevka area. I'm going to show you where the progress has occurred recently. We have confirmed reports of Russian advances in this small triangle right here along the railway towards Novokalinove. This area right here, this defensive triangle in between these two railroads, is where I believe the Russians will halt their advance. This basically secures the northern flank of Avdeevka for the Russians. They will continue to apply pressure into Novokalinove from this way. I do not believe that they will push for Orchevny anytime soon. However, they will begin to push out and try to cut off this road intersection right here, which is one of the major supply routes for Ukraine into Avdeevka. If you see the road, it comes this way, over through here, down through here, into Orlivka, which is the main supply hub of Avdeevka, and then through the 0542 highway down into Avdeevka. Obviously, this whole area is under Russian artillery and FPV control. So the Ukrainians are taking losses here, but with this rail line still open, supply can still come in and is reaching Avdeevka through these roads. So I expect a push up into this area and then a push further over to cut off this supply route. And then even more significant would be capturing this crossroads right here, which would allow the Russians to completely suffocate Ukrainian supply into Avdeevka. So this is a significant gain. The Ukrainians are fighting absolutely brutally here. Bloody battles. This is probably one of the most intense areas of the front. Ukraine cannot afford to lose Stepove. They cannot afford to lose this supply route. This whole situation is just becoming worse and worse by the day for Ukraine. We also have reports that are not confirmed by sources yet, but I've heard a good amount of rumors. And one pro-Ukrainian source had talked about it, that the Russians had advanced along these tree lines about 200 meters. So probably evening out the front with Saverne right here. This is a very big deal. The progress in this area has been incredibly slow for the Russians. And that's due to the fact that this is all just open fields, and the Ukrainians have a much easier time keeping this section of the front supplied. They can also apply pressure down here with constant counterattacks, which force the Russians to move reserves over, and it kind of creates some instability in this area. It's also very exposed to Ukrainian artillery that can sit back here and just plink away. This area is not so well covered by Ukrainian artillery because of the depth that Ukrainian artillery has to sit at. So a lot of the focus is on this area for the Ukrainians, and this area trying to hold back these flanks from closing. If Saverne or Tononke is lost, then this supply route, the last remaining supply route into Avdeevka, will be cut. Same goes for Stepove and the coke plant. If these two areas are lost, supply into the city becomes almost impossible. So the Ukrainians are defending hard here, the Russians are pushing hard here, and any advance in any of these areas is very significant. Down here in the south, we have Avdeevka industrial zone right here and a small dacha area. The dacha area has likely been completely captured by now. And this waste heap has also now likely been captured, which gives the Russians yet again another artificial high ground to look over this sector of the city. So I expect we're coming up on a time of pockets closing, and the Ukrainians love sitting in pockets, but this whole pocket right here is likely going to collapse because of this capture of this hill. There's just not a strong way to defend this area nor keep it supplied. So I expect a major Russian advance in this area, kind of leveling out the front up against the private sector of Avdeevka. The same thing happened up here in the north when the Russians took this waste heap. They expanded their zone of control to the north, down here to the south. Remember, this map is highly conservative. A lot of sources have Russian advances all the way down into the filtration area and across over here. So Avdeevka is becoming worse and worse for the AFU by the day, but the AFU is also sending the most reserves into this area. So it will probably likely not fall as quickly as some of these other areas that I'm about to talk about. Up to the north, on the Bakhmut front, we come down here to Kleshchevka, where the Russians have made a major advance over the last 2 days. They have taken this tree line, this forest plantation area, come up onto this strategically and tactically significant height right here, which overlooks all of Kleshchevka. And if you look very closely, you can see this huge trench network that has been up here. It's even bigger now. These satellite photos are years and years old. So this whole area is just one massive trench network. It has now been captured by the Russians. This directly looks down on Avdeevka. So this whole section of the map is probably about to collapse for the Ukrainians. There are going to be some major Russian advances in this area because they are backed up against this canal, the Severodonetsk Canal. It is a decently wide canal. You could probably jump across it if you were full sprinting, but it is pretty wide, right? Like it's probably 10 feet wide, or, like 4 meters, 3-4 meters across. This means that vehicles cannot easily pass over this canal. It is a physical barrier. There are 1 or 2 small crossings that the Ukrainians use. They often get hit and destroyed. So the supply has to come down from Ivanivsky or Chasiv Yar through here. And with the Russians taking this heights and trench network, the Ukrainians will just be sitting in open fields right here trying to run supply into this area. So expect massive Russian advances right here, and Avdeevka is going to be recaptured. Kleshchevka is likely going to be recaptured unless we see a massive Ukrainian counterattack to recapture this fortification. But I just don't think the Ukrainians have the available reserves, manpower, and armor in this area to actually cope with that situation, that development. Up here, we have Russian advances along the northern end of Bogdanivka. This is significant because Bogdanivka is the defense, basically, of this supply route that runs into this entire area. Once this area falls, I expect probably a retreat from the AFU out of this area. They may try to hold Ivanivsky. The Ukrainians have been very reluctant to retreat throughout this entire conflict. However, keeping this supplied, once you lose Kleshchevka, this high ground, if fire control gets set up over this road, if Russian advances in Bogdanivka happen and they capture this road, there's a height right here. There's strong trench networks. They'll have direct line of fire over this road. I think Ivanivsky will probably be abandoned. The timetable on this, I would say over the winter. I think that the goal for the Russians is to level out the front along the Severodonetsk Canal It offers a good defensive line for both the Ukrainians and the Russians. And then I would expect probably this area of the map to freeze for a little bit. That is not set in stone, but Chasiv Yar, Konstantinivka, Druzhivka, Kramatorsk, and Slavyansk are all those are huge upcoming battles potentially, and I don't think the Russians really want to push that way. I think they want to continue to attrit the Ukrainian army with its dwindling Western support and really put the nail in the coffin without going on some large scale offensive. And then down over here to the south of Bogdanivka, over by Yehidne kind of area right here, the Russians are likely up against the 0506 now. I can't imagine the Ukrainians keeping this supplied. However, we don't have any specific map changes for this area. There is a trench network here that the Ukrainians still control, so the Russians just might not be able to push up into this area. But a number of sources are saying that basically they're at this motocross dirt track right here. So, significant Russian advances around Bakhmut. Once this falls, basically all of the Ukrainian counteroffensive over the summer will have been completely negated around the Bakhmut area. So that is quite significant. And then down over here for the last map update, we come to the Robitny sector. This one is not shown because I do not know the exact coordinate location of this event, but the Russians captured a Leopard 2A4 somewhere in this area. I don't know the extent of the Russian advance. I'm thinking it's up to this tree line right here and back over. They captured a Leopard 2A4 in this area. So once again, Russians undoing Ukrainian work through their counteroffensive. No changes on the Zaporozhye front. Krinky is still just a slaughter fest for the AFU. Not going too good down there for them. And then we have confirmed capture of a Ukrainian Bradley that is functioning. The Russians were driving it around somewhere in the Avdeevka area. So that is also quite significant that the Russians are capturing a lot of UA equipment. UA is on the retreat in a lot of areas, and the Russians are pushing with great intensity in all of these areas. But yeah, other than that, that's it for my mapping today. I am going to be doing these map updates more and more frequently. I'm going to try to keep everything shorter when I'm doing my map updates, and then I'll do longer, more extended videos when I want to talk about geopolitics and stuff like that. But for regular map updates, these videos are going to be a little bit shorter, a little bit more concise, so you guys can get the information and not have to watch a 42-minute video about other stuff when I just want to talk about map updates. So thank you everybody for listening. If you want to support me, the easiest way to do that is Telegram, Twitter. That's where you can find all my news, all my updates days before you see it in these videos. So if you want to stay up to date, follow me there. And then if you want to support me financially, you can do that through Patreon, and I will have that link in the description. I appreciate everybody watching my video today. Have a good day.